Hey guys, Artosis here, bringing you the conclusion here of the third, fourth place match. This is a best of 5 in the CNSL between Soso and Motive. And it's been kind of a crazy series so far. Some wild builds, some very close games, some one-sided stuff as well. And this one here on Nemesis should be a good one to finish it off on. You definitely get some wild games on Nemesis because of the weird way that it's shaped, because of those weird eggs, the fact that a lot of it's flat, you know, not a lot of high ground other than above expansions. So, yeah, should be interesting. Thank you guys for tuning into ArtosisCasts. Yeah, thank you so much for all the support. And, of course, if you would like to support on Patreon, please feel free. That is patreon.com/Artosis. All right. So, what are we expecting here in this match? Well, honestly, it's like you can see Protoss players sometimes put on like heavy gateway pressure because it is a flat map, but it's kind of a speed shuttle map, I would say, right? Like Reaver type play. You can really control the 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock bases. With those speed shuttles, it's hard for Terran to really counteract that very much. But here, ooh, an 11 gas. Okay, so this is going to provide an extremely fast factory for Soso. This could be, well, the thing is, it's just, this can be just straight a macro build. This will help you to bust more quickly against like a Nexus first. If they try to go for like a Zealot running at your base, something like that, you're going to have your first Vulture out a lot quicker. So there's a lot of things that this build can do for Soso. It's not like a giant deal, a giant difference, but it gets your factory about 10 seconds faster than the slightly more economical 12 gas build. So anyways, he is sending that SCV out for a scout, and we have the probe going to the north here from Motive. So he'll be able to scout this very, very quickly, and you can see, yeah, see that 222. So just to put this into perspective, right, that's a very, very fast factory. With the 12 gas, you're going to get it somewhere between like 228 and 237 based on how your mineral mining has been going, right? So to get it at 222, that's like very, very solid, very quick indeed. The Marine pushes back the probe, and we do have a Dragoon on the way. No range as of yet. We'll see. I think he is going to get range. Yeah, there it is. So that's like, that makes everything a lot safer for Motive. Any sort of early rush is going to be much less scary. You know, like there are little rushes you can do. For instance, if Protoss goes like just Dragoon, no range into Nexus, that type of thing, you can actually just send Marines, SCVs, and Vultures at him and kill that Nexus off. So, you know, just something to keep in mind there. 3 Marines plus a Vulture. We'll see. We should see Soso send the SCV for that command center now. Looks like he will do that. But yeah, it looks like it's just a pretty standard Vulture expand with that very fast Vulture here. I think it's because there is a lot of Zealot pressure that occurs on this map. That's probably why he decided to get that factory so quickly. But here we go. The Dragoon coming up. By the way, that is not a ramp. This is all flat ground. And Motive will put a little bit of damage down onto those Marines before he backs up. Doesn't want to take any hull damage. Another Dragoon popping out, and the SCV does scout around and ends up finding this base. But not really going to be able to scout very much. It's like, okay, yeah, you have a Nexus on the way, you have range on the way. Well, there's a command center on the way over here, so everything's totally fine. Little bit of scuffling going on at the moment. This Dragoon trying to get some damage. You know, it injures everything, but that's not always impactful. It actually does have some value, just to throw this out there, right? Because the Marines can help in an early pressured push, right? Like whether you go 2 tanks and send your Marines and tanks, or if you go like a 2 factory build to pressure with, and those are basically pressure builds. You never ever win with them, but you can sometimes get a bit of damage. We keep Protoss in check, that type of thing. And we might see that if he starts a 2nd tank, then we will see a pressure. No, it's just a single tank. You could still move out, but with 3 damaged Marines, that's not a lot of buffering for this siege tank, so probably won't really push out very far with that. Mines on the way as the SCVs transfer. The probes should be transferring now as well. A little bit late, actually. A little bit late for Motive on that transfer. He should have already had those up there mining. So just a slight mistake. It's not that big of a deal, but you know, every mineral you mine at this level does make a bit of a difference. Now, second gate and a robo. Oh, and he does start the shuttle right away. That's what we were kind of looking for, right? Was this going to be... Ooh, that's kind of interesting. Opening up to get into here. And saving his mines as well, so maybe he wants to put mines in here to slow that expansion. But, you know, was it going to be Observer? Was it going to be Reaver? It looks like it's going to be Shuttle, then Observer, then Reaver, which is the most efficient for both scouting and getting a Reaver out very quickly. This would be, you know, it's not like the quickest Reaver, so it's not something that you're like, oh, I've got to get that Reaver out and get damage. It is going to be slightly slower than that, right? By one Observer build time, basically, is exactly what you're looking at as the slowdown. But this is a very safe build, right? You get the Observer out, you get to scout what Terran is up to, and then you get to, you know, just have a Reaver that can defend against things. It can harass at that point. He'll probably get the speed upgrade. By the way, this is a 2-factory opener, so he could move out right now. This normally moves out at 3 tanks, but it looks like he's not going to do that. Sets up a depot here, sends the tank up, and wants to kill off this assimilator, so he doesn't want there to be an entranceway through the back. That's interesting to me, because the actual opener that we see here, this is a very fast second factory, like before the armory, right? So normally with this build, what you're going to see is the 3 tanks move out and just kind of poke Protoss. But that wouldn't do too much in this case, I would say anyways, right? Oh. He already has that Nexus started before this Vulture can get through, and the Vulture's still sitting here on 2 mines. He has laid 1 there. And in fact, we'll kill this egg, but 2 Dragoons coming up, so the Vulture's not going to be able to actually get anything done. The Dragoons can completely control this area and knock down assimilators if he fears any harassment. You only actually have to kill 1, and then Vultures can't fit. So, looks like he will go for that. In the meantime, we have 2 factories here. The armory has been spinning for a little bit, and he is killing everything off. You do have to kill both assimilators to prevent Zealots from going through. Just something to note. That's why he's going for 2, and then for Protoss, you'll generally see 1 killed. So up comes the Reaver with a single Dragoon. I don't think he'll be able to really find damage. See, there's a turret underneath this engineering bay, a very old trick, and then a turret here and a turret here. So very good turret placement against the vertical spawn of Motive here. Not going to be able to do anything once again, right? Like, he dropped out the Dragoon to take some hits, dropped the Reaver, didn't really get a shot. Okay, everything's fine. Going into 4 factory play here with that +1 spinning. So this might... Yeah, 5th factory. This is 100% turning into, like, a timing attack here from Soso. It looks like he wants to move out with the 5 factories. I'm not surprised. It's really hard to play 3-base play here because Speed Shuttle Reaver is so common. You can see speed is being developed in the top left, right? On that production tab, you can see that that is, in fact, something that's coming along here for Motive. So, like, for instance, if you kill these eggs, you go in, right, you take the base, your units have to go, like, let's say your units are sitting here defending. They have to go up here, up through there, walk down here, walk down this ramp, and then defend this command center. Whereas a Speed Shuttle can go in, drop, get out, right, and immediately go somewhere else. And the travel distance for the siege tanks and the Vultures is very, very far. So because of that, like, you see a lot of these 2-base type builds from Terran on this map. That's really the most common thing at, like, every level on Nemesis. So it looks like right now, Motive getting ready for that 4th base location. His Observer kind of keeping an eye on the move out here. You know, this is a lot of factories. 6 factory play from Soso. I'm kind of surprised the placement of it because it's hard to get all these on one screen. Like, this is as good as you can do. You can see me centered. But a little bit harder to macro something like that if they're further apart. Either way, going to get a lot of units to try to push out. So a lot of this is going to be Reaver micro from Motive, right? That's a huge part of holding off a push like this. So he comes in, eats some shots. I don't know about this, honestly. Kills 2 siege tanks. Takes a little bit of Reaver hull damage. Loses 1 Dragoon. And, well, that's a 2nd Dragoon right there. So, I mean, he's being pretty aggressive trying to reduce siege tank counts, which can be good. But the Reavers, like, if the Reavers die early, that's going to very, very badly hurt you. Like, for instance, if let's say the shuttle just flew into this, right, into the turrets, and died. He would unsiege immediately and just go across the map. The Reaver is the only thing that's going to slow him down right now. Looking back at Motive's base, he has gone up to 6 gates, adding a couple more. Definitely wants to get that leg upgrade. He has started that as well. +1 is ready here for Soso. He is preparing for his move out. Already has some mines on the side that can prevent like flanks where you come out and then they go up here and then come back over to stop reinforcements. So see, this is beautifully laid mines. Like if you look at this, right, this zones out anything else and just makes a corridor that he wants to push down. So Soso is going to be pushing down towards the center. And yeah, this is all about Motive slowing him down while he builds a big enough mass to hold Soso back. All right, a little scan there to take out any observers that are watching him. That's a great move to do. You don't want Motive to have a huge amount of information about exactly when and how you're moving down. The Reavers get pulled back. He's not really getting any shots off, so this is very good so far. Lays a bunch of mines, so this means that he's anticipating an attack in here from Motive. He's actually, as he pushes down, going to have to clear at least those 2 mines because you don't want those dragging. And if you go in just a straight line, it's going to take too long. So you see unsieging a bunch in the back, has this additional missile turret, sets up the siege tanks, and here we go, pushing down to the south. A lot of Zealots have joined in. Zealot legs are done. Psystorm is on the way. If Motive can hold this push, he's going to be in pretty good shape as he does have that 4th Nexus. The 3rd Command Center does get started here, but that's pretty darn late, right? So definitely Soso needs to get some damage done. Right now, he is down a considerable amount of supply, but don't forget, 20 of that is in probes. So he's down about 20 army supply, which is a lot. It sounds like a lot. It is a lot. But this kind of sieged position is very hard to break. So he still has, like, I think he'll absorb the first attack almost no matter what. But the question is, how much will he have left after it? So right now, what he actually wants is Motive to attack in. He's got a beautiful setup here. He's got a lot of mines. He even has some near the tanks. So, like, these first few tanks are going to go down very, very quickly. So he's starting to clear some of these mines as well. Got to be careful if you siege on top of any of this. Another missile turret, being very, very careful with this push. He knows that if he gets broken, like, badly, the game actually ends right there. So he needs to at least kill the first army of Motive here to have a chance in this game. All right, High Templars and Zealots in this shuttle. By the way, it is +1 against 1-1 right now, and here we go. He's going for that bus. We'll zoom out and take a look. These mines on the left-hand side holding everything beautifully. Targets down, but both High Templars get out. It's a good spread, so the Psystorms don't do as well as you might hope. Where are all the Vultures, though? We have a huge amount of units up here. A big mistake from Soso. If those units were down here right now, you'd be in a much better shape. That's at least 2 rounds of macro that we're missing. He would have absolutely destroyed that, but he still, of course, absorbs that first army. As we were talking about before, you expect to be able to stop the first push, but it matters how much you have left over. The 2 Reavers are still here. They're killing off Vultures. He's got an observer. He's still kind of sitting on the edge, slowing this down, moving forward. But look at this. There's a lot of mines right there. You have to be careful about this. If he drops Zealots on that, a lot of this is going to explode, and that's exactly what is going to occur here. Oh, my God. A huge mine drag. Blows up multiple siege tanks and Vultures. That is so incredibly painful. Throws down another turret here. That's... we're down to 5 siege tanks in Soso's push. He is sending over this command center, but a probe made a pylon here. That's annoying to deal with because he wants all his units at the front. The double speed shuttle coming in here once again, bombing out those Zealots. And, oh my God. Ugh, very, very rough. Like, he's being held pretty darn well. You can see that supply differential. Still pretty big. Like, he's still got that 20 armies supply advantage, Motive does. He's got a lot of gateways here. He's setting up another base. So, this is looking a little bit tough right now for Soso, but the game is definitely not over. He still has winning chances here, right? Like, if he keeps blocking these shuttles from dealing lots of damage, like, look at this. Beautiful, beautiful. The Reaver does not even get out. It dies as it's unloading. And now, without the shuttles there, without the Reavers... Oh my gosh, he actually goes over here. This is kind of brilliant, actually. He brings his anti-air with his siege tanks. And that will actually make it so shuttles can't stop him. But at the same time, Motive starts to try to break out, and he is going to get on top of everything. Those additional units missing here are a bit of a problem. So it looks like he will break through the push. And now this leaves us with, what is this push going to do? If he can kill a Nexus here, I think he's still completely fine. By the way, long distance mining to his command center. He is going to kill that pylon. That is highly annoying. And it looks like he might be able to get the Nexus. With 3 gates here and DT starting to come out, like, this is going to get dealt with. Oh, he actually catches the incoming shuttle with the Wraith. That's kind of a smart move right there, but does not move up to block it. Looks like he was probably looking elsewhere. Some vultures coming down. I don't think he gets the Nexus. I do not think he gets it. He has killed some probes off. And actually walking through mines there with the Dragoons, that's kind of good. And in fact, he gets the scan. You know what? I might be wrong. He might end up getting the Nexus. It's possible. He drops down to one Goliath there. That makes it a lot harder. It's the only thing that really does damage to the Dragoons. Let's take a look back up here into his base. So we have 5 factories, 6, 7 factories. We have +2 on the way as the science facilities ready. Motive right now moving out with a lot of units. Still sitting here on, what is that, 10 gateways plus 3 over on this side. So we have 13 gateway production against that 7 factory production. So obviously much larger unit production for Motive. That's common in the matchup, as you're supposed to be more efficient with those Terran units. We'll see if that's going to end up being the case. He does deny mining here for a bit. He has killed a fair amount. He's like, you know, there's still this probe deficit from where Motive wants to be. He wanted to be mid-60s. He was mid-60s. He lost some probes. He's trying to rebuild. Now, he is clearing a lot of these mines off of the map. I don't know what that Siege Shank's doing. I think that's probably just a misclick. Oh, I did not actually notice this, but looks like maybe there was a storm drop into an Archon morph, but that's going to get dealt with. Only kills like 3 SCVs. And, you know, Motive is still being a little bit annoying here, but it feels, I mean, Soso's being a little bit annoying, but it feels like Motive has kind of taken control of the bottom of the map, right? And, like, Soso is still okay in this game. Like, he's got a lot of siege tanks. He still has a little bit of a foothold out here. If we zoom out, you can see mines all over the place, a missile turret. Like, even having 1 missile turret out here is kind of big. It zones out scouting, it zones out shuttles for this area. He does need a little bit more, though, and this is a wide spread. So if Motive clears all these mines and attacks in, like, this won't end up holding. If you look at the supply differential, 60+ supply on completely wide open ground. Like, you need a lot of mines in there. You need missile turrets. But realistically, we need to see Soso rally out a few more units. Now, I like that he's removed these eggs and he's holding this area. That means he can help this base very, very quickly. But he needs another base. These spawns have low minerals. They have like 1,000 minerals when they begin, right? See? And the gas only 3,000. So you run out of these locations pretty quickly. You know, Motive, he's actually already almost mined his out. So we need 1 more base here for our Terran player. Comes in, Motive does, with another attack, dropping out these High Templars, getting some pretty quality storms right there. Oh my god. Look at that. Those storms going down. And he will pick off a lot of the High Templars, but the siege tank count has been greatly reduced. This feels like Motive is keeping a slight edge continuously. Oh my god, this another tank going down here. I think he has a bad rally point. These tanks are not supposed to be going down there. You probably just misclicked on one of his hotkeys, right? Like, you normally have some factories on your mid hotkeys, so maybe did 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, something like that. And or like right-clicked for a movement. Obviously, that's how you would rally. Yeah, not entirely sure, but there's some mistake occurring. I don't know how many tanks he's lost to it, but that is substantial. Now, you can see Soso is trying to reset up this area. This is dire, though. He needs to hold this area so that he can take expansions in the top left. Because he honestly, he kind of needs to split the map at this point, because Motive's getting a lot. It looks like Motive actually wants to take down one of the assimilators here. That's all he'll take down. He might actually clear the eggs, too, so he can run Zealots in to save it if need be. I think we'll actually see cannons up here, by the way, to kill off the assimilators. But, yeah, right now, he does get this command center started. Very important moment. Another tank was sent down. Dude, he has a bad rally 100%. That's so painful. Like, how many tanks has he lost? Like, we saw the first one a few minutes ago, so he's probably lost 4 or 5 tanks that rally. Gigantic, guys. See, another one, another one. This is the type of mistake that you have to fix. You must. The thing is, a lot of times you don't even notice that it's happening. I got to tell you, I see this really, really often. More often with, like, Terran versus Zerg, right? Where you'll just have, like, one barracks that just rallies Marines endlessly into Zerg because, you know, you're clicking so fast. You move around your control groups. You accidentally do a barracks, something like that. But that's happened here to his factories, and that's incredibly painful. Now, Motive kind of pokes in there. Lots of SCVs come over. This is, I can't stress enough how important this base is. He simply must keep this base going. Oh my god, that's a huge catch. Those were High Templars in there. The Reaver shuttle comes out, trying to do some sort of harassment. Will drop that Reaver again back here, but I think he's going to end up losing it because of these Goliaths. Yeah, he will end up clearing that speed shuttle as well as this Reaver. Oof. Okay. Let's take stock of where we're at. Still the 3 gates here. Still the what is it? 10 gates here. Looks like it. Yeah, 10. Okay, so 13 gate production still here for Motive. Starts to move up the map. Very similar as far as workers, and then 180 against 150. That's doable for Terran to hold on against these attacks, but this is a good one from Motive. Going up the side where the siege tanks are not. Everything's over here defending right now, but he does have a lot of mines here to slow it down. Siege is up in his main base. This area doesn't matter as much, so it looks like he'll be okay for right now. I feel like if Motive comes in, kind of clears some of this out, he's threatening this, he's forcing all these units back, re-macros, backs up, and then attacks this side. I think that's the absolute best move. Okay, so he clears this, backing up a bit, re-macroing. If he maxes out and attacks into this, I think he just breaks it, because too much of Soso's supply is over here. He needs this stuff to come out and join the rest of it, right? Like, killing this path, stopping the reinforcements is a huge move for Motive. Sorry, I'm so zoomed out this game, but like this is a game of giant moves right now. Like, these are big, sweeping, strategic moves on the map that we're seeing. This is not like, you know, a small, like, oh, this drop did so much. Although there are some drops that are doing reasonably well. It's like Motive is doing such a good job of separating the rallies from where they need to go. And if he gets up in the middle, like, this army beats this 100% of the time. You beat this army. So he comes up, he has the 3 speed shuttles, going to start dropping off some zealots on top of these siege tanks, storms to go off on the clump tanks over here. And once again, Soso has to back up. He's having a very hard time here. Double storms, gonna end up losing a lot of siege tanks there. Okay, pushes it all back. Dude, I gotta say, like, this is exactly what I want to see from Motive. I think he's playing this strategically and tactically unbelievably well. Comes out, busts up some of the reinforcements, pushes it back, comes back. You know, obviously, like, he does need to eventually kill up here, but as long as he keeps the army back from reinforcing, he will have a window that opens up where he can kill it. And then once you lose these bases, the game just ends. That's it. The game just ends. Like, there's too much for Motive at that point. Now, to be fair, this base did die. It looks like the siege tank drop is doing some serious work. So that is something that goes into Soso's favor over there, denying one of those bases. Another base being taken by Motive on that 3 o'clock position, but Motive once again going to back up. Sending those shuttles in. He actually sent those to die purposefully. They were too low. They'll be picked off like in like 2 shots from a turret, even with full shields almost. So yeah, that was planned. Now, it looks like he is getting ready to attack over here. He has left a lot of his units at home. You can see some vultures coming out and trying to kind of screw with this, trying to prevent that attack from happening. He kills off some High Templars here. Once again, the tanks start coming out. But look, Motive knows this is likely to happen, so I wouldn't be surprised if he pushes up again. And honestly, I want to see him send an observer to here, because as soon as you see the units coming up the ramp, if he comes back and pushes them back again, it's such a strong move. Because again, it buys him more time to get over here. Okay, comes up, and, well, he's doing a little bit of storm drops. It seems like he has killed some SCVs, the SCV count dropping below 40. And that's pretty bad, because this still needs SCVs, and then you have 2 bases, right? So, like, if you have 3 bases, you really do want to have mid-60s workers. Kind of an important thing to actually be mining at good efficiency. So I think, yeah, he will produce more SCVs here. He will try to get that going. More shuttles rallying up here for Motive, getting ready for more bombs. And it looks like Soso has snuck more vultures out to put down a bunch of mines. And then once again, here goes Motive. Going to attack into this natural. He just keeps bringing his entire force to bear upon half the army of Soso, and it's doing such a wonderful job for him. Comes up, going to go ahead, storm some of these siege tanks. This is a pretty efficient engagement, though, from Soso. This actually might start to turn the tide. A lot of units being lost, like so many of his Dragoons. This is the moment for Soso. If he is... Ooh, that's a good storm drop right there. Kills off a lot of SCVs. But this is the moment. If Soso unsieges everything and comes out into the center and holds this area, right? He already has this area. If he holds this area, I don't think he's going to be broken again this game. But he's unsieged here. This makes me nervous. This makes me think he might be thinking about attacking, which is probably the one thing that would give Motive like a huge opportunity. Definitely do not want to see that. Now, a siege tank drop over on this right-hand side. This is going to be devastating here for Motive. He is going to end up losing a lot. Hopefully, he can get a speed shuttle up there to block this, but even Goliaths being ferried over here to block any incoming shuttles. So I think this base is going to end up dying. This one has stayed alive. Looks like he had to clean that one up once again. Having this path is amazing for him. Sending more tanks up to try to harass this. And look at this. He's trying to kill his eggs. He didn't kill him yet. You can storm the eggs to get through more quickly. So very nice. And he should be able to save the Nexus then at least. But this drop has done well. And in fact, he's just going to get out of here with those Goliaths. No sense in losing the Goliaths when you know your opponent's sending enough to clear this out. And another siege here. Dude, Soso's doing so well. But he is missing that one additional move I really do want to see. He's leaving it open for Motive to once again remass a huge army and take over this area. And if he takes over this area, there's less and less tanks over here because he's sending them up to harass this base. So now this area is more breakable, and he hasn't retaken this area. You know, he's focused so heavily on harassing, I feel like he's missed the bigger moves that need to be taken in this game. Obviously, it's easy for us to see all zoomed out, you know, looking at the game as a whole, looking at the positioning. Looks like triple speed shuttle going to go towards that top left. And it's mostly Zealots, so, like, ooh, I mean, the storm part is okay, but it's mostly Zealots, so Vultures can clean that relatively easily. Would love to see this Wraith get shift-clicked onto these. Oh, man, gets a pick off. That one was full as well. Gets both of them that have units in it. And now Motive moving up into this middle area. Not a lot of siege tanks, and they were not in siege mode, so they do have to pull back. The siege tanks coming out single file here. Might have been right-clicked onto a Dragoon there. It looks like they walked way too far up. Cleaning up these Zealots a little bit. This game really could go to either side right now. Like, the fact that Motive has had a hard time mining from these side bases has really helped Soso to stay in it, but it does feel like Soso's having a hard time still getting his army on both sides here. So sieging up back in a more defensive position at the natural throws down the defense matrix, but so many storms coming up, so many Dragoons as well. And I mean, this is what I've been talking about the entire game. If you can clear these bases one time, Soso's basically dead at that point, right? That means that you've killed half of his army that was over here, but also, like, everything that's mining. This base was always going to mine out very quickly. The fact that mineral patches are there shows how much it's been harassed. But yeah, he's coming up with the rest of his army, walking through some of these Psy Storms. And the command center has gone down. This one doesn't look like it can be saved, which means that Soso is just running dry. Like, he's sieging this base as well, but we still have some mineral patches here, and this is healthy enough. And now that he's killed this area, this base can be retaken and it won't be killed anymore. So it feels like Motive has taken complete control of the game at this point. This is the last army for Soso. He's sending some SCVs elsewhere. Like, maybe he's going to try to mine from this base. That's a reasonable idea, actually. He has all these SCVs. He's got to do something. He's got to get something here. So yeah, he's going to blast these cannons, send his own SCVs in, but ooh, one Psy Storm on those would absolutely demolish them. The flanking army here from Motive coming in, trying to get on top of these siege tanks. They're very well spread, so without, you know, a lot of zealots in there, a little bit hard to knock it out. He is losing a ton of Dragoons, but it looks like he may have just enough to knock every single unit out. The SCV's mining, but nowhere to go. There's literally no landed command centers on this map. Both command centers that remain are coming over here. And that's going to be it. GG. Motive gets third place.